I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna keep it moving. I ain't even gonna be out here too long. Um, but there are some messages that I've been getting concerning music industry, even as far as the entertainment industry. It is something we have to discuss because it's one of the main things blasted to us, algorithmically, energetically, frequency wise. And it's just one of those universal things that a lot of people engage with and interact with. And so a lot of people are susceptible and vulnerable to attacks via um, these kind of algorithmic warfare. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just get to the point. What's been revealed to me. Um, I was kind of talking around it because I can clearly see, what's being done, and trying to harvest energy from, these blasphemous undertakings, so to speak. Um, but I will say that that Get Out shit, y'all, is real. The movie Get Out is real. So the last reading I did was Gemini, and I felt led or guided to search um, TakeOff's zodiac sign shortly after, and I realized he was a Gemini. And another person I was channeling in the reading was Kanye West, and he's also a Gemini. Um, with that being said, I was looking back at the video that from the read I did, and just the cards was communicating to me in a whole different way. Now, the message that was given was accurate, but I just got more in-depth insight, especially after realizing that Takeoff is a Gemini, right? Um, I remember Archangel Michael came out as well, and Archangel Michael resonates a lot with the Gemini energy also. Um, but if you guys see, you'll see that we had cardiovascular system reverse come out. We had Master come out, and the thing is, in the Master card, in that particular deck, if you notice this guy, he was holding a cage with a heart in it, right, right at his heart space. And we also had Archangel Raphael came out, which was the Archangel over the heart chakra also. And then we had Archangel Metatron, um, who kind of rules over the third eye. Um, so you guys need to know that Takeoff and Quavo are divine masculines. Offset is not. Offset has been hijacked. Even think about his name. Spirit has been having me meditate on the fact that his name is Offset, and he's literally living up to it. But here's this too. There is a possibility that this Get Out shit that they're attempting to do with Takeoff with his brain and his heart, his pineal gland or whatever. There is a possibility that this could have been done to Offset. If not that, he has definitely been hijacked. Cardi B is also responsible for this. Now, if you guys just pay attention to the timeline, all you have to do, it's real simple. Just pay attention to the timeline, right? So y'all know that Quavo and Takeoff was recently interviewed about who did they deem, the best quality artists, as it pertains to artistry. Nobody cares about your popularity. Nobody cares about your clout. Nobody cares about, whatever, like your fandom, right? So if you notice in the Gemini read, the fandom had came out reverse, right? Okay, boom. Nobody cares about that. If y'all really pay attention to the morale of Quavo and Takeoff, and even their older music, or most of their music, they speak a lot about, you know, they don't really care about the fame shit. I want to do what I love, do what I'm called to do, and basically gain stability and structure, a healthy, well, a comfortable lifestyle as a result of doing something that you love, that you know that you're gifted to do, that you're called to do. So, but not really caring about the fame type shit. So y'all know one of their most infamous songs is "Rich and Famous," and then R.I.P. So if you guys just pay attention closely to the lyrics, you'll basically see this thing unravel, unfold, as it actually is. So yeah, they were asked, who did you deem the best quality artist, when it comes to artistry, and lyrical agility, ability, right? And they chose Nicki Minaj. The obvious answer, it'll always be Nicki over Cardi. I'm sorry. Like, if we're really talking about lyrically, right? Even morale to a degree. So I will tell y'all this: Nicki Minaj is a divine feminine. I know that may ruffle some feathers, especially with how they've been demonizing her lately, um, or a lot of ganging up and whatever, these narratives that's intentionally spun to sow illusion and confusion around people's true essence and identity. Excuse me. Which is also a bigger agenda, not just for the celebrities, right? We often get caught up in, oh, they're celebrities because they are at a certain level when it comes to media appearance and stuff like that. But these people are also a part of the collective, the masses, the collective, whatever you want to call it. So at the end of the day, it's a bigger agenda. We talk about, well, we hear about handlers, we hear about puppets, we hear about puppetry, we hear about all this shit, right? But there really are some individuals of influence, mainstream influence. Just like, the stories that we hear, biblically, or ancient stories of, certain people like Mansa Musa, Joseph, David, King Tut, Bastet, Kalima, Ogun, Yamaya, Yeshua, these people who were like mainstream, right? Mainstream role models and examples, or just examples, right? So we also understand that they were divine examples, just as they were, low vibrational examples, but all of it being, where we derive lessons from, and edification and understanding, soul counsel, wisdom, all of that stuff, right? So we have to keep this in mind, this is not new. This is just more modern times, different people, right? Now, y'all know about reincarnation, incarnation. Some of these people are reincarnated gods, reincarnated royals, and stuff like that. And, some of these individuals, they could have had like a similar undertaking in another life, in a past life, right? So, I'm going to tell y'all this. Your true divine masculine, true divine feminine, 9 times out of 10, this is someone whom you've already been with many times in the past life, or someone that you've already dated in the past life. So that's just a sidebar. So that's why there's that feeling of, I feel like I've known you before. It's that in the third. So that soul journey of rediscovering or finding each other again, your souls aligning and finding each other again, and also serving as a reward. Your husband, your wife, your true soulmate, your true life partner, your divine masculine, divine feminine is to a degree a reward to you, to show, or it's almost like you honoring your path and your purpose here, and honoring nature, the mother nature, and your higher selves, and this, that, and the third, and not being or falling into traps, or being tricked out of your birthright, or tricked off your path, especially when surrounded with much temptation and people who are on assignment, or people who some people switch over, but people who are at any moment on assignment for demonic purposes, right? You not being lured right, into fated lives, you know, and tricked out of your destiny life, right? So fatal attractions, being fatally attracted to things, events, places, people, um, contracts, experiences that ends in fatality, or that is likely to end in fatality, even when it comes to bonds and who you associate yourself with, right? The company that you keep, right? So anyway, before I went live, so let's just go ahead and be clear about that. Offset and Cardi B are responsible. They are not the only people responsible. Jay-Z and Beyonce are also involved. Jay-Z, Beyonce, Cardi B, Offset are all karmics, right? They are not divine masculines and feminines, and these are not divine unions, right? These are not unions, brought together by the Most High. These are demonic unions, right? That's why there's like a lot of greed and clout chasing, and these people, they have a tendency of making music to project or to deflect from their actual genuine image, like who they truly are. And once again, that's just a terrible attempt to sow illusion and delusions, right? As if we're still in the age of Pisces, which we are not. Now, unfortunately, um, some people will be lured into that. It's not to say that this energy still isn't present among us. Now, we've only been in the age of Aquarius, for a short amount of time, right? So, and we just have to keep that in mind. Like, when was the last time we was in the age of Aquarius, and how long have we been in the age of Pisces? So it's kind of like, just like how you pick up habits, or like you you go through spontaneous awakenings, and like a shedding, a losing and a gaining type of cycle, right? It's like, think about infancy. When we're conceived in a child, things always work in cycles. Like with gestation and stuff like that, it works in cycles. You don't just, the sperm doesn't just penetrate the egg and then immediately you're a full baby, right? There's a process in that, in your limbs and your brain and your systems, your nervous system, your lymphatic systems, your all those things forming, in due timing, and divine orchestrated timing and alignment, right? And we also understand that there could be birth defects. There's things that can take place in the environment or in the host that can impact the evolution or the end result, the development, right? So you have to keep that in mind as well. These are reflections of, our lives in general. Our awakenings into higher versions of ourselves, or descension into lower versions of ourselves, right? Which we understand, like your lowest selves, or being in your lower self is karmic. Is being in a karmic energy here. So anywho, I felt guided to go to his song because there's a lyric in a song that he has that always threw me off every time I hear it. Because I'm not gonna lie, I even used to like listening to the song, but I really lost a lot of respect for him after this. But every time I heard this lyric in this song, it always like just threw me. And so I felt guided to go and read the lyric, because I was like, okay, did I hear it right? And so it's the song, How Did I Get Here? You guys, I want some of you, if you go and you read these lyrics, right, it is very, very chilling, what it actually says, and it literally sounds like some get out shit possibly happened to him. Now, I'm not excusing or justifying, his actions and this, that, and the third, but because I also believe there are, like nobody just gets into those kind of things like accidentally or like for nothing. Like, I don't. The point is, choices, right? The power of choice and your willpower, right? Your willpower. So most of us, we can attest to being lured, or even being intentionally placed in endangered situations things taking place outside of our control, but we understand, what it means when the Most High says, "I will provide for you a way of escape." So there's always been ways of escapes for these people, and they forfeited those ways of escape because they rather have fame and clout and popularity and lots of money for the sake of being better or outdoing the next person, or feeling like their quality of work is better if they have more money or more material acuity. So we know that's, one of the most repeated mistakes in life, lifetimes. So understand, what does it mean, like, to really be, still living in your south node or stuck in your south node, right? Your south node, your lower self, right? And like I already said, there's a such thing as descending further into the south, right? Just like we have these reflections and imagery and examples all around us, right? If we're traveling in a vehicle, by plane, by train, whatever, right, and we want to go far west, we can go far west. If we want to go up north, we can go further north, like even, to Canada. However, if we want to go to the east, we will travel to the east. If we want to go south, we travel to the south, right? So even right now, the Most High is like kind of giving me like this concept of being pulled from either side. So being pulled left to right, west, east, right? Now I'm talking about, like, think about this spiritually, when it comes to illusions, delusions, indecision, right? Indecision around, should I completely cut this person off, or if I should give them another chance. And what the Most High has been showing me is that we're going to really have to be cutthroat with people, because especially with people who are cutthroat with us, right? If a person is showing evidence that it can possibly pull you off, continuing facing your north node and ascending into your north node further up, and you got somebody trying to pull you here, pull you there, whoever you identified, to be creating this type of energy here, these pauses, these obstacles, debris, blockages, right? By that pulling or left or right, and then possibly down, you sinking lower to your south node or back into your south node type shit, right? Whenever you identify who is, the cause of that, you need to separate yourself from these people. So it's literally like the phoenix, right? And you got snakes coming left and right, or you got these energies that's coming left from right in an attempt to cease the phoenix from rising, right? So what would you do if because think about it, if your wings is literally on the east and west, I did that wrong, on the west and east side of you, right? Think about this, right? And then you have the south, people standing underneath you. How else can you tie down a phoenix and then pull it down? You would have to, from the west, you would have to, from the east side, put a rope around the wing and pull from, that west side energy, like west, like southwest energy. And then someone, or energy on the east side, or I don't know which one I said, the east side, grabbing that other wing, right? Because so it's, think about the phoenix. So think about how birds are literally created, right? Think about how our bodies are created, right? In our anatomy. So boom, like, I wish I could just, so basically like your arms being this way, this arm will be this way, and then boom, your head north, and then boom down south, right? So like your reproductive system, your root chakra, like being rooted and grounded, whatever you want to call it, your base, right? From your base and in your head. And then you have, like I said, your wings, those things that, either get you to fly above or rise above things, like your heart chakra, right? Your discernment. Your solar plexus, your willpower, your self-esteem, and your confidence. Your sacral chakra, your intuition, which is basically also your discernment, but the heart is what masters discernment, right? Because the heart, gets challenged a lot, like to become hardened, to be cold. It gets challenged when it is pure and, big-hearted or whatever. It gets challenged, right? That's why I talk about how sometimes we can be and situations go back to situations return, right, and become dust, right, as the biblical story tells us. Or um, we can experience a lot of indecision and confusion, right, when it comes to a lack of honoring your heart's discernment, due to your love for people and your I don't want to say expectations, but your desires, right? You know how it always says your heart's desires, so your desires lie within your heart. So you can be a divine person and have desires for someone to, rise in their divine power, or face their north node, or to break free, and to honor you, to respect you, to heal the situation. You can have all these desires as a divine one, because of course you will, right? You're divine, right? So you're gonna naturally have these feelings of like high vibrational divine expectation, right? But just because you have that as a divine being, you can't allow that to blind you to people who, they're not honoring that within themselves, right? It's about the seeds that people sow for themselves, not so much the seeds that, you've sown into them and just hoping that, those things sprout. At the end of the day, the person is still responsible for tending to that garden, right? And keeping that, just tending to it, right? To separate the wheats and the tares, to cut off, whatever they need to cut off that's draining, to bring whatever fertilizes it and, adds more nutrients and, cause the plants or whatever to blossom, right? Those seeds to blossom, right? So I'm even thinking about the biblical analogy about some seeds that landed on thorns, and some that landed on stone, and some that landed in water or whatever, right? And it even talks about how those that grow up amongst the thorns, and so different things like that. Let me see if I can pull that up for y'all and we can quote that. But I really want y'all to look at those lyrics. Now, all these people, the Most High has guided me to expose these people in the industry. He already told me. I've been getting these messages, but I've been thinking about putting it on my Patreon, but I'm going to go ahead and just, because the Most High told me to put it out here on YouTube. They can't do a damn thing to me. So, all right. Elon Musk is a karmic. He is not a divine masculine. However, Nikola Tesla is a divine masculine. Johnny Depp is a divine masculine. Who else? Chris Brown is not a divine masculine. He's a karmic. He started off as a divine masculine but got brought down. Kendrick Lamar is not a divine masculine. He started off as one and was brought down. J. Cole is a divine masculine. Ari Lennox is not a divine feminine. Jasmine Sullivan is a divine feminine. Regina Carter is not a divine feminine. Armand is a divine masculine. There's also a plot currently being prepared to sacrifice him also. His stepmother and his father are in on it. They are very greedy and desperate, and basically just trying to take advantage of the wealth that he has accumulated through his gift and honoring his life purpose and his path. Unlike these karmic individuals here who forfeited that. So there's almost like an entitlement to, to these people's inheritance by Ra, directly from the Most High, for honoring their life path and purpose here. And there's nothing wrong with, us individuals sharing righteously, right, honorably, our wealth, what we accumulate and generate, the talents, right, what we have accumulated and multiplied, the talents we've multiplied, right. There's nothing wrong with us, sharing that. However, it does matter who you share that to and what they do with it. So just like the parable of the talents and stuff like that, how there was a guy who was given a portion and he buried it. So think about that really deeply. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So if we was to go back to Migos, if y'all really are fans of them, you know that a lot of their beginnings just started off as a duo to a degree, for the most part, right? I'm not saying that they never made music together in the beginning. However, most of what I can recall, it was just Quavo and Takeoff that really like forged the path, and they kind of just brought Offset on, or just gave him a portion, right? And he was supposed to multiply it just as they were multiplying it, but instead he buried his portion, right? So burying your portion as in forfeiting your birthright, or resorting to underworld, or to undermining or self-know lower self means and methods of handling that portion, and as a result it dwindling, it having no value because it's not being used to serve its actual purpose. um, so yeah, things like jealousy can serve as things that kind of pull from the west and the east, you know, a person's wings as a phoenix, or whatever, their eagle-eye vision and understanding and discernment, foresight, right? Whatever you want to call it, right? Envy, jealousy, covetousness, lasciviousness, avarice, all these different things, that are literally the integrated the integrated energies of the virtues of spirit, which will be wisdom, understanding, charity, temperaments, all those different things, right? So then, like, for example, the inverted versions will be gluttony, greed, those kinds of things. So, you guys already know that Quavo was in a relationship, a committed relationship, with someone, and Offset slept with this person behind his back. So they kind of took a step back because at the end of the day, loyalty, right, which is also a part of those virtues of spirit, as an extension of that, right? It is wise to be loyal to those who are loyal to you, and those who are worthy of your loyalty, especially, right? Those who are honorable to you, those, basically, how it says, don't bite the hand that feeds you type shit, right? So yeah, some people just have lack of control and self-discipline, and so as a result of that looseness of their own willpower, they are easily susceptible and fall vulnerable and fall bait to the many kinds of temptation, that we all are faced with, right? Those things to pull us from west and east, and then ultimately keep us in the south node, or keep us from ascending higher out of it, into our north node. So plot twist. There's been a lot of illusions sown in the media, right? This portal, anything with a screen is a portal, right? There's been a lot of illusions sown over who are the true divine masculines and who are true divine feminines, because we can attest from our own lives that, especially those of us who are divine masculines and divine feminines, we've been with karmic partners before. And we thought we were in love and thought that this person, was the real deal. So y'all can't overlook that just because these people are celebrities, that they don't fall, victim to the same traps, but are also given ways of escape, right? And then that greatest way of escape being obtained would be by honoring and heeding the voice of the Most High and your higher self. So, for example, of course, it's gonna seem like the relationship is so good and stuff like that, especially when it's coming from the perspective of the divine person, like the divine masculine or the divine feminine in the matter, right? For example, with Armand, right? He's a divine masculine, y'all. Of course, he's lovey-dovey. He's a sweetheart. He's a beautiful person. He loves with his whole heart. He's honest. He's honorable. Um, he's a sweetheart. So of course he's going to be super lovey-dovey and committed and devoted and loyal and, faithful. Those are the virtues of the spirit when you are of divine or divine lineage, or you are of divinity, right? But we cannot be blinded by that, because we've been that. And like I said on another video that I did, in most situations, we are blinded by the energy that we give to the person. We shower, we are known for showering people with our love and our care and compassion and this, that, and the third. And, ultimately our light and life force energy, it is a gift that can be given. It's something given that, literally like someone can wear and cloak themselves with. So sometimes we'll be blinded by our own energy, right? Because we're mostly water, right? We're basically bodies of water, right, on Earth. Like our bodies represent Earth, and then we're made of 90% water. So think about your blood and the fluids in your body. So when we're dealing with people and we're giving so much of our energy, into a person, right? Our energy has a way of being able to reflect or bounce off that person like a mirror and reflect itself back to us, and we can be deceived by thinking that this is this person's energy when in actuality it's mostly our energy. So that's just something, a factor there. Who else? So with that being said, like I said, there's like a lot of plot twists going on here. So what else? For example, Kevin Gates and Drika are, that is a divine union. That is, she's a divine feminine, he is a divine masculine, regardless of what's going on or what's being blasted in the media about their personal